go. Devon, we're gonna get you comfortable in front of the camera. Devon's gonna be the star of this show.
So cozy.
You look fire. Does that matter? That color
Yeah,
looks good
I
on
mean,
you.
obviously.
Oh, I was low key stalking your Instagram today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
How'd you like it?
I was looking at you with long hair, with pink hair,
Oh
with
yeah.
your hair now, and then my first question was, "Why did you cut your hair?" I must know.
It's so thick that like it's just so like so much of it
Oh
that
my
like I
gosh.
just can't handle it. I used to be down to my like waist and I had to brush it for like not consecutively, but total would be like 2 or 3 hours a day of just brushing my hair because I'd get knots, like mats that were like this big.
Wow. So is it so refreshing to just
It's so
have like,
refreshing. Yeah.
yeah,
And actually you can't tell, but the my neck is like shaved all the way up to the like
that's sick.
Okay.
so I just have way too much hair.
Are you gonna grow it back out, you think, or are you gonna keep it like that for a while?
I think if I were to grow it out, I'd grow it out like only to like here.
Short,
Yeah, I don't think I'm
Okay.
gonna go long again. Probably.
a writer's bob.
Perhaps. We'll see
What's
what
a writer's bob?
A bob, like a bob,
like a
like a
Oh,
hair
bob.
okay.
Yeah,
dryer.
like no, it's not for me. Too much
I
still.
think that's really cool that you experiment with your hair because I'm deathly afraid of that. I've never touched it except for the bangs that I got the day
Well,
I
I
was
just
engaged.
part of it is looks good by the way. It looks really good.
Thank you.
Um, Part of it is I feel like with like ADHD, it's just like so overstimulating because it's so thick. There's just so much
Yes.
of it that like I mean, I'm banned from like cutting my own hair now. Like I have my roommate has like all of my like shears and scissors and stuff like that hidden because I if I have like a bad like sensory day or like I have
Yes.
like I dead ass kid you not last August shaved the whole back of my head. Like up to
That's,
like here. Like
but I
shaved.
love that you're just willing to do that. Like
Oh well,
you
yeah,
have
and then
you
I
have
had like
no
like I had a
worry
panic
about
attack and like whatever. But then like
like
I it looked fine. I mean, it didn't look fine. It looked jank actually. But then I went and got it fixed, and I still had enough hair to like cover it. So like yeah, it's a blessing and a curse.
an era of hairs.
Yeah.
Rich, have you ever done anything different with your hair?
Not really. I actually went to Chicago today and got a haircut.
Is
Um,
that the only place you get your hair cut, or do you not care?
yeah, I've had my friend, same girl for 13 years, I want to say.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And I schedule my trips to Chicago around getting haircuts. So like I'll go every 2 weeks. So I'll go get a major one and then 2 weeks get a cleanup. And it's like downtown in a high rise. So you see like, you're getting a haircut and then you just
Yeah.
see all the old buildings and you're like, yeah. And it's more than it's a relationship, you know?
Yeah.
So it's your friend and you talk about life and um it's I gotta imagine that's I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. It's got to be exhausting to be on your feet and say you have, I don't know how many clients she has in a day, but say 15, and you're just having conversations start from finish with 15 people while doing a service. And I bet a lot of the conversations are boring too. So you got to really put some energy into it.
It may be. I feel like it was better than being on your feet and serving like tens to hundreds of people a day and just having like the same conversation over and over again of like, "Hi, how are you? What can I get for
Yeah.
you?
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
that good? Okay, cool. Thank you so much. You have a good
It's
one."
fake. It's
It's
not
like
authentic. Yeah.
like at least the 15 customers that she has like seen more than once and like she has a
Yeah.
That's
relationship
fair.
with. And like you
Yeah.
can have like a full conversation where like you can like converse. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'd prefer that, but
Well, that's why I was asking because every man I know has the same barber like for 13 years. Like they don't like they
Yeah.
develop relationships with these people and they stick to it. My sister's
Yeah.
boyfriend travels from Boiling Springs, North Carolina to upstate New York twice a year to get his haircut because that's where he was
twice
raised.
a
And
year.
yeah, he refuses to get his
Wow.
haircut anywhere else.
Does he have like longer hair?
He has really
Has to
curly
be.
like perm hair. It just grows out.
Huh.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I have to. finding a hairstylist or like a barber for me is like difficult because when I do get my hair cut, like the thing about my hair is the way that my current hairstylist describes it, he says that like it's every cut that they make, you can see it. Like so like any
That makes
it's
sense.
really hard to cut because it's so thick and it's so straight.
Layers. Yeah.
So it's like every line, every cut they make, you will see. So like if they don't work with my kind of texture hair or like my thickness hair very frequently, they kind of butcher me.
It could shelf
Uh,
you. It's like,
yeah, dude, I've had it happen. It's like actually a nightmare. So
So that's it's like peace of mind. It's you
yeah.
go in and you
yeah,
just like you just know you
I know
trust
they're
this
gonna do me right.
person. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I once wrote I give her some of our books and I'll like write in there. One time I wrote, isn't it interesting that you are one of the most consistent people in my life? I feel like that's an interesting thing, is like
That is so interesting.
I mean,
so
yeah,
if
the people who do services for you, like, obviously are gonna be like very consistent. I mean, it's the same with like obviously on the other end of it of like she has lots of like regulars, obviously,
yeah,
that she sees. And even though like you're not in each other's personal lives, like it's still, obviously like a
yeah,
relationship.
See, that's my problem though. Like, I am regularly in people's lives and I don't connect with them. Like, I do on a surface level, but not on like a we're gonna be friends and I'll know you and I know everything about your like your children if you have chickens. I have to work on that because like I think I have trust issues. So that's why I don't have a barber or a hair cutter because it scares the crap out of me to develop a relationship like that. Because
what do
I'm
you
paying
do?
them. What?
What do you do for your hair?
I
You cut
just
your own hair?
literally for the first time since I was 9 years old and my mom cut my hair, went to a hair cutter
Bruh,
person. Yeah.
that's
And
crazy.
I got bangs and I was scared to death.
Well, bangs are an investment because if
I
they don't look
know.
good, then they don't look good. Dude, I literally like, and I know everyone says don't cut your own bangs, don't cut your own bangs. Don't cut your own bangs.
They
I
look really
agree.
good.
But I've
Did you
done
cut
it. This
yours?
is not mine. I didn't cut these.
Oh,
Okay. I can show you pictures of when I've cut my own bangs. And even if I like, that's the problem with me is like, even if I trim, like, I will literally trim like this much off
yeah.
just to get it out of my eyes. And all of a sudden it's like up here. And I'm like,
Oh
how
no.
did that happen? And then I'm like that for like a whole like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And it's
It
just like
grows.
so miserable because I'm like, oh my God, I look awful. Like everyone knows. And yes, everyone knows. Like it's not like everyone's like, oh, it looks fine. Like the reality is it doesn't look fine, but at least they don't say anything about it.
It gets to a place where it looks fine eventually.
Finally, yeah, like it grows out. That's the thing about hair. Like if you're gonna make a mistake on your haircut because like hair grows out. At the end of the day, it does
That's fair.
grow. It's gonna be okay eventually.
Yeah. Guys, this is a really deep conversation about hair
Because
cutting.
hair, well, have you seen Fleabag?
Yeah,
Hair is life.
it is. You know what's so interesting about that sentence? I actually did a research project called Poop is Life
Hmm.
because we're born and we poop and we're covered in poop and then
Yep.
we die
And
and
then we
we
become like
poop.
poop, like dirt, poop.
And then also like we're at our weakest, most vulnerable spot when we're pooping.
It's true. Are
There's
we
like a
well,
circle of life.
wouldn't you say that like when you're asleep is when you're most vulnerable? Because like
Well, yeah, but I feel like I could technically get up if I hear something or fight somebody back. But if I'm pooping, like there ain't no way. Like how can you be in the middle of pooping?
well,
No, I guess to each his own.
okay. Well, I'm gonna raise you this. I'm gonna raise you this.
Praise me.
I feel like yes, you're vulnerable when you're pooping, but people are also most vulnerable to you when you're pooping. Because if you get attacked when you're pooping, like you have straight up like you can just smear them. Like as long as you're over like can get over it, like if it's really like life or death, like
Yeah, no,
I
you're
feel
right.
like
It's a
that would be a
defense.
deterrent, right?
Yeah, it's a weapon. It could
Yeah.
see. It's the circle of life. It could also be a weapon.
So like yeah, like I feel like I don't know, like yes, but like there's the added like I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I get what you mean.
So anyway, how's your writing been?
um, my writing has been good. I hit 10,000 words, but I feel very iffy. So I'm gonna say I probably hit 7,000 words. 3,000 of those words I want to go through and
Mm,
sift. I thought I was sharing you guys a document the whole time. I wasn't, but it's on a
no.
completely different
No.
document. I'm
I
gonna
was
send
like,
you that.
wow, she hasn't written anything for a while. She must be pretty confident she can get it done. And then last meeting, you
No,
were like, oh, I have this many words. And I was like, okay, so she's clearly has it somewhere
yeah,
else.
yeah. Sorry, I thought it was on the shared document. I have two separate emails that are really similar, so I'll share that with you guys. And then I read Katya's because I got confused. I thought it. I don't know why I read Katya's and not Devon's for today, but that's where I'm at.
That's okay.
It's
Yeah.
wise.
I
How
have
are you
like
doing, Devon?
9,800 words ish.
Ooh.
My whole thing is though, what I've started doing because I've realized that when I think of my writing in like the linear like chapter kind of
Yeah,
way, I get stuck because I'm like, what do I want to come next? And then I'm like, I
yeah,
don't know what I want to come next, but I do know that there is this part of this book that I want to write. I don't know where it's going to end up, but like I am in the mindset to write this scene
yes.
now rather than later. So mine is actually like super non-linear right now.
Okay.
It's like
My yeah,
different.
it's like
Yeah, yeah.
kind of like, and right now especially like I'm really just trying to flesh this character out. So
Yeah.
a lot of what I've written, I want to say like 50%, if not more, than 50% of it is like it's like past scenes, like scenes that have happened when she was younger than she is now. And like I think that there's a way I've read a lot of books recently even that have had a lot of like flashback scenes where
Yeah.
it like they like work out a character's like personality or a moment that like impacted them very heavily. Um and
In my
like
class, we call those context flashes. Like you go
right,
back
yeah,
and
it's
get
context.
context for
So
the
like
future. Yeah.
I've written a lot of like context scenes that I know will be important when compared to like the present day story when I write that part, like when those parts get written. But right now, a lot of it is like contextualizing and like exploring the characters and their relationships to one another, especially like um Mariah, her best friend, Ruth and Mariah's relationship. I'm exploring her relationship with her mom a little bit. I did one scene that was like from her mom's point of view. Just
Wait,
like,
so could you walk me through because I didn't read yours, like
yeah.
generalize so the where I left
So
off like was after the mom and her were like downstairs in the first flashback at like dinner with the dad and then she goes back.
yeah,
Uh
so I have four scenes right now. The first scene is the funeral, which is going to be like that one I'm very confident in, and like I'm like that one is the first chapter, or like
yeah,
will be within the first, like maybe even like like a prologue. I don't know, something that like that is like the setting of the scene and introducing these characters. That I'm confident in.
okay.
Second scene, I switched it up. So the first, I wrote it in a different order, but right now it is the second scene is the morning after the funeral and is from her mom's point of view of like waking up and being like and kind of being like, okay, like I've done my grieving, like I need to lock in basically. Like that's not obviously what she says, but like it's more of like I need to like now that I've done my grieving, I've had this day where I just like kind of fell apart. Like I need to get it together
Yeah.
for not only my like daughter, but like for this farm. Like I think
Okay.
I don't I feel like the ranch isn't necessarily like it just doesn't make I try to work it through in my head as like why would it be struggling? How would it be struggling? I feel like it's probably less that it's struggling and more that like now that he is not there,
It's
like
not the same.
it's not the same. I kind of want to write about like what Ruth had wanted to do with her life like after.
Yeah.
So what I've kind of decided is that the first part of the book is going to be set obviously on the ranch and like in Wisconsin. And then I think that there's going to be this like big blow up where she kind of confronts her grief and her anger and like kind of just like she finally like ends up going back down in the basement. We figure out kind of what happened there. She like trashes the place and just like is like I can't stay here anymore. And then I kind of want to have her that's where Mariah comes in. Mariah, I think I'm gonna have her move with Mariah. Like Mariah's been planning to like move and like get
Okay.
a job somewhere.
I
And I
like
think
that.
she's just gonna go with her and be like, you know what, like I'm gonna get a job as a barista, like I'm gonna do something, and then like maybe I'll like rediscover my love of music
Yeah.
without the context of my father and like play she plays the drums. I was thinking maybe she can like play the drums at like maybe the cafe she works at has like night shows where
Yeah.
they like do like art like have artists, and so she's kind of like flailing a bit. She's like I've only ever known myself on this ranch. I've only really known myself as a lover of music through like the eyes of my father, through and like he's gone now. I'm in a whole new place. I'm, like yes, it would be super simple and easy for her to stay on the ranch. Like if she was more like I think at the beginning of that's kind of how she's feeling is like, well, I'm too scared to like move on and do something new with my life, something that actually could be like independent of anyone else. And so I'm she could stay that way, and that's when I think that's where her mom kind of comes in of like, no, you're not going to stay here. Like I'm not going to allow you to kind of just like make the easy choice just because right it's in front of you, and like you
Yeah.
could act like you're doing like the most moral thing ever by like taking over in his footsteps, but like that's actually like kind of like the cowardly way out. Like you have your whole life to live. Like go
Yeah,
do
I really
something.
like that. And my first thought is like I agree that it would be complicated for you to just cut off the farm from like being good and then all of a sudden bad. I definitely think if there's anything, it's just a little bit of degradation from what it once used to
Yeah.
be. And it's
Yeah.
not what it was with him. And it'd be really interesting for her to leave and come back
Yeah. I
and
think she
realize
would
that it was
revisit.
still like him. It
Yes.
like things remind her of him that
Yes.
when she was there before
I
she
like
thought
that.
it was all different, changed, and then she comes back. She's like, "Wait a second, he's still here." Like
Yes.
he
Like
says, "I needed somebody."
recontextualizing
Yeah,
that space of like instead of it feeling like it's haunting her, like it's kind of like eating her away, like eating
yeah,
away at her. She gets to come back after she's done her grieving and after she's done her processing of it and like kind of gone this on this her own kind of hero's journey and then has returned and been like,
right.
okay, there's actually aspects of this place that I still love that like I, still find comfort in and
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily just have to remind me of like the bad times.
So it's
Uh,
relatively an identity crisis because of something that happens. But she knows who she is. She seems authentic. She seems strong in who she is. But she has
yeah,
to
I
figure
think she
herself out
just
without her father.
yeah, just she doesn't know like she's like I love music and I kind of wanted to go into music but like do I actually or is this just something that like I picked up from him and like
Right.
right so
Mm.
like I kind of want her and that's when she would like move away maybe not even far just like to a new place, like probably a city where she's never been to before, and is
Yeah.
now encountering like all these like different artists. She probably is going to be following Raymond around, like maybe like encounters him at a show. I'd like for at some point like her to like play in like a show with him. That would be like the end would
Yeah,
be
that'd be
her not
cool.
necessarily being a fan like in the audience, but she's like a fan on stage, like actually playing like background like
Be
drums
cool if you
there,
like picked her up or something because it's such
right?
a sad beginning and be inspiring to be
Yeah.
halfway through and be like, whoa, there's like a future here.
Yeah. And then being able to like process her grief about her father through like
Yeah.
a new connection with the artist that they both like shared and loved. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that could be like a really fun like thing. So right now,
And
all that is to say, the scenes I have written are the three that you've already seen, or the
yeah,
two that you've seen, the one that was from her mom's perspective where they kind of have a conversation like, hey, like you don't have to stay here. And Ruth's like, what else am I gonna do? Kind of like being all angsty.
yeah,
And then the scene that I'm working on right now, which is like really, really long. It's not really, really long. It's long.
yeah.
But I'm fleshing out is how she like how Mariah first came into her life and being like,
Okay.
yeah, they basically knew each other from since they were third grade. She's like, she's always been in my life. I mean, yes, we met in third grade, so like, yes, there's time before third grade that like, but it's like not relevant to me because like my life is nothing, was nothing before like she came along, and so I have this
Yeah.
like
Cheesecake.
basically,
Yeah.
yes, cheesecake, bro, the cow cheesecake. I just had the way that I kind of had it happen was not just that they were like best friends at first sight. Like Ruth and her were very different as third graders. Like Ruth is like obviously this kid that like grew up like playing in the woods and living on a ranch, and then she goes to public school like in Wisconsin and like is like, oh my God, this is a nightmare. It's like freaking cement everywhere and like there's
Yeah.
portable. I kind of base it off of my elementary school of like half
Oh,
of the
yeah.
buildings being like actual buildings and then the other half being like portable, like literally
Yes,
portable like
outside
squares.
buildings. Yes.
Yes. And so I was like, she's like, oh my God, like literally this is a nightmare. And like, I can't even get my bearings. And like, she's super quiet and kind of like not really like whatever. And then you have Mariah, who's like so super social and actually like has a problem with being alone. So she's like always like, like has someone around her and she's just super bubbly and like always like very like outgoing and energetic. And so you have Ruth, who's kind of like doesn't like her. She's like, I don't like her because,
Yes.
she doesn't understand her. So she's just writing her off as being like, oh, well, there must be like some kind of underlying, like, like she must be a mean girl because she is getting along so well with everyone.
That's so authentic because that's how most friendships actually
Right.
start. Like in
So like
childhood.
they kind of just orbit each other for a while. And then I also, a lot of this is just pulling from like experiences obviously I've had and like have had with other people and other people have had, whatever. So like I mean, that is writing, obviously. But when I was super young, my grandparents have a ranch and they have alpacas, and there was this pregnant alpaca that was my alpaca. Her name was, what did I name her? What did I name her? I literally named her I'll figure it out. I'm gonna remember. But she was pregnant and the baby ended up in breech where like they're backwards. So like that means that like they can't get oxygen when they're being born and like also risk puncturing like the inside of the mother with their hooves.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, so it's like crazy. And so I basically, and like I was like, oh, I want to see. My parents were like, well, we don't think that's a good idea. You're super young, right? But they were like, my mom was also like, hey, like she's not gonna
Like,
understand it if she doesn't
yes.
see it, right? And like, so I like they showed me, they're like, look, like this is what's happening. And I was like, I literally like walked up and was like standing there and I was like, crap. Like I literally like was my first curse word, like as a kid. Like I was like, crap. And like obviously it was sad. The baby didn't live, but the mom did. So it was like, at the end of the day,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
things happen on a ranch.
Yes.
And so I kind of was like, I kind of can see this happening with Ruth, where like she has this cow that like she loves that she named one of the cows, like, like that was, and the
Yeah.
cow was pregnant and she's super excited for the baby. Like normally with if they have a boy, like the bull cows are like sold or like, like raised and there's like just a couple of them, used. So they don't most of the time it's like female cows and female like female animals on farms that they really keep. But I remember I wanted to be like, yeah, like this is her baby. Like everyone knows this is her baby. Cheesecake is gonna have a baby and it's gonna be Ruth's baby. Like she's so excited about it. And then unfortunately, like something goes wrong and like the baby doesn't end up being born like at the right time. Like it's too early.
Yeah.
It's in the winter. Cows do have babies in the winter. I did research because I was like, I don't want the people to like, like be like, actually that's
Yeah.
wrong. Um, and of course, like I'm sure like when I will fix it also
Yeah.
editing or
That's
whatever.
that's
But
second draft stuff. You don't have
I
to
was
worry
like,
about
yeah, like the baby, doesn't happen. It's
it.
unfortunate, but like the baby doesn't live. She goes to school the next day and is like really sad. She's not saying anything to anyone. It's cold. She goes to like an old like she goes like to one of like the portable bathrooms, like whatever, and it's just like sad in during her recess break and is like in a stall, like just being sad. And that's when Mariah comes out and is like, "Hey, like I just like noticed like you were really kind of really quiet and like you're usually quiet, which is totally fine, but like I just want to make sure you're good." And they have this kind of like awkward like third grade girl interaction
Yeah.
with each other where they kind of like bond. Um and it's clear that like Mariah later and then later on I have like they bond, they have a little ceremony. Mariah has a little ceremony for the baby and that's when like Ruth realizes, oh, like she's actually just really nice. She just like like she's actually like sweet. Like she's actually a good person. And that's when they become like friends. And then I have a later like a flash forward scene that's kind of like yeah, and like years later when they're talking like they're having a sleepover, they're talking like Mariah is honest like yeah, when I first like met you in third grade, like I thought you had all these aspects to you that like were super admirable. Like you just didn't care what other people thought about you. Like you like kind of just like stuck to yourself because you didn't seem like you needed all these other people's
Yeah.
like their feeling. You didn't need to know what they thought of you because like it didn't matter to you. Like I really admired that because I felt like I had to know what people thought of me and I had to control that. And so you kind of have them finally like coming together and being like, yeah, actually there's aspects that you have that I don't have that I really admire and like want to emulate,
Yeah.
but like don't know how because like obviously I'm a third grade girl who's like still trying to figure out like who I am as a person, let alone like what I fail at and what my struggle areas are. And so I kind of just like at first when I was writing it, I was like, this is so like no one needs to know all this. Like this is too much information. Like it's not information
Oh,
that
never too
people
much
want.
information.
But I was like, but you know what? Like this is what I feel like I like this is what I'm inspired to write right now. And I feel like
Yeah.
if that I feel like it's gonna be important if this is like a big relationship because I want her to like move with Mariah. Like I want her to go and
Yeah.
have Mariah be this catalyst for her not to stay stagnant in this one space because I don't feel like I can write a whole book with her just on this farm being sad. Like also no
Yeah.
one wants to read that. No one wants to read that.
Well,
I want to write it.
it feels really thought out. Like you really spent the time to sit there and consider every little part, which is so important. And it seems like you're inspired. And to me, that just means that your readers will feel inspired. If
Yes.
you're not
I hope.
inspired and they're not like, if you don't feel those things, they're not going to feel those
And
things.
obviously in the grand scheme of things, like once the full book is written, like this is going to be a very small part of it, but for right now it's such a big
Right.
part of what I've written that I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
God, it's
absolutely.
too much,
Yeah.
but it's not. Like I know it's not. Like I
It's
know it's
not.
like
Yeah.
and even if it's parts of it don't end up in the final draft, like I know that it helped me get kind of where I'm going with these characters. So I haven't finished I'm like almost done with that scene where I'm like finishing up the scene where they're like talking and being like, yeah, like when I first met you, I actually thought you were really cool, but like didn't know how to like broach the subject and I
Yeah.
thought you were just like, kind of this girly girl who was kind of just like, maybe a mean girl who would, take my vulnerabilities and laugh at them. So like, I don't know, like I just feel like and then from there like I'll finally write in the present. Like I'll
Yeah.
finally write some present stuff. But I feel like I had to get to know both the characters
Yeah.
first.
Absolutely. I think that's an incredible outline. You basically just outlined. I think you are there's different outline writers. You're a thinker outline, so you outline in your head, which I wish I could do, but I could not keep my thoughts categorized like that. I have to have it on paper. But I think you have done an amazing job. I can't wait to keep reading
I'm
it.
glad that like and so Rich, you read it though. So you actually like read it. What do you think? Did you have any thoughts or were you kind of like or were there any thoughts that you were like, I don't know if this is like pulling me. Like what do you think? Like I want to know like your raw like thoughts about it.
You're wrong.
I don't think I'm that uh critical of a reader.
Okay.
I'm just like I'm just like energized
Okay.
that like a story is being written in these worlds
Right.
that I created. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's
Okay,
so
that's good then.
interesting. And I
I'm
see
glad that yeah.
Devon has these just like really strong blocks of
Yes.
text and writing.
Yeah.
And
I have a
I'm just
hard
like,
time
yeah.
writing like line dialogue. I'm like all of it is just like I actually have to like I actually write in a block and then I have to go back through and like realize I'm like this is a
Yeah.
good break. This is a good break, I think. Here is a good break. Yeah. This could be one line on its own. I usually don't do that. I think that I struggle with that. So,
But
I
they're
think
not trains of
it
thought either, so which is good.
yeah,
it's
I
so cool
try
to
to
see different styles of writing and be like, oh, that's that individual style. Like
Hmm.
I didn't think about that or the way that's written, that's very
Yeah.
interesting and um it's very like unique to each person and that's what sticks out to me. Um yeah, just interesting. I would say think. So I think you do a solid job. You could probably expand on like scene three with you're using music as essentially like establishing this connection with her father and Ruth and Raymond. Um,
Yeah, I'm
can
gonna
you
do a
maybe
lot of
expand that
that.
more?
A lot of expanding on that when I get to kind of like the actual like meat of like what happened after his accident and before he died. So like how he kind of diminished as a person.
That makes
Okay.
And
sense.
I don't want to write too much about that because I don't want the book to be like super depressing and like also like super just based off of like drug abuse
Yeah.
tragedy. But
Well,
like
also
I
like
think that it's a
remember
big
to ask
part.
ourselves, what are you speaking out against generationally? Like we talked about in the beginning. Like I have
Right.
to keep reminding myself to do that
Yeah. So
once I
like
What?
understand.
Yeah, then you use vinyl. I look at that too, like vinyl. There's a story of like every vinyl record I own, you know.
Yeah.
So that's cool to see. So I was curious. I don't know this in general. Like when people get addicted to opioids, it's usually through an injury, I think, and then the abuse that comes with the addiction, is that like an overprescription from a pharmacist? Do you seek it out in non-medical?
yeah, so usually it starts out obviously with an injury where, they're taking it for pain. And then once the pain has subsided, it's kind of more of like oh, but I still feel better on it than without it. And so then the pain becomes more like less physical and more like
Makes
mental.
sense. Yeah.
Um, and so they're taking it because they're like, I now like feel better without like on this medication than off. And at first it's usually like subscriptions of like, oh, like I'm still in pain, like can you like extend my prescription? And then if like once that kind of runs out, like once those options run out, then people will tend to seek it in a non like pharmaceutical way, like in ways that are like more like what you think of when you think of like drugs,
Right.
where it's like less above board and more just because they're desperate for it. And so, and that's also something that I've been doing a lot of research on it just to make sure that I'm depicting it in a way that is like accurate and also not in a
Yeah.
way that's like romanticized. Because obviously, like, and I personally have not had someone close to me like struggle from an opioid addiction. Um, I've heard like stories from like external family members and like like friends from like so in a very like removed way, and so that's why
Yeah.
I want to represent it accurately without it being like romanticized of like, oh, what a tragedy, like I want to do it right, which is also why I haven't written a lot of scenes quite yet actually depicting like the abuse, actually like going into like all the scenes that I've written so far about it. I before I wrote those, like before I put the words down, I was like, okay, like this is coming from a character who, like for instance, the scene with Annette, or the scene where she is the narrator, I guess, where it's from her perspective. I read a lot of articles and like blogs by people who like are families of survivors of abuse, or like are like people who are loved ones of them, and like how they deal with their like grief. And a lot of the times what I was reading was like they feel like their own emotions and like their own feelings about it like should come second, or like aren't important because like they feel guilty for having those feelings about it, like feeling angry at someone for like having like an addiction where it's like this is hurting me, like it's like they feel like it's selfish to
Right.
feel that way, especially women, like especially like
Yeah.
spouses of people who have like addictions to drugs, opioids in particular, like are like I should not be, like the way that I feel about it, they feel guilty about it, or they're like I gotta push my feelings to the side. And so I kind of was trying to depict that a little bit in her, but like obviously like going forward, like I'm gonna explore that a little bit more. But I also know that I'm writing like from Ruth's perspective.
Yeah,
Um,
I was gonna say, like, I feel like as you're talking, sorry, just random thoughts. Like, I think because you're coming from an observer's perspective, my advice would never be to just limit yourself, and that's not what I'm trying to say. But what I
right,
am trying to say is I think the most readers haven't been through stuff like that. So if you're trying to represent it accurately, represent it from an observer's perspective. So
right,
I would avoid getting into the nitty-gritty details of a point of view from the father or maybe even from the
right.
mother and keep
No,
it
I
from
definitely
Ruth.
don't want to
Yeah,
include his.
yeah,
I want him more to haunt the narrative than to be like
right.
an active part of it.
And I feel like
Um,
if you're worried about it being accurate, you have nothing to worry about because you're already doing it accurately because you're doing it from the point of view of somebody who hasn't suffered through it
right,
themselves.
right. Yeah,
So,
so I'm trying to figure out how close I want to get to it because I'm trying to figure out like how involved was Ruth in
right,
this? Like was she living there at the time, or was she like maybe she was, like
right.
maybe she was living nearby, but like, like I'm still trying to figure out. I did originally want her to be 25, but I'm thinking maybe she ends the book at 25, and like this
Yeah,
kind of is like a thing between like her going from like 20 to 25 kind of situation. I don't know.
I like that. No, I
Um,
like that. Yeah.
just because like I feel like the way that she's processing her grief is
It's
in
more
the
naive
mindset
than a
of that I was
25-year-old,
in,
yeah.
perhaps that I could see someone being in
Yeah.
at the age of like 20, 21,
Yeah.
22, right? Whereas if she's 25 and dealing with this and still living with her mom and like, like whatever, like it's like I feel like she would process it a lot differently. Uh,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Which
Maybe
can
that's
be
what-
realistic, but in terms of novel writing and like
Yeah,
book writing, it
yeah.
makes more sense timeline wise to do it.
Um, Right. So I kind of, that's why reason why I haven't written like specifically quite
Yeah.
yet about that, because I'm like, I still don't know how close I want her to be to it, like how involved she was, how much she knew, how much she didn't know. And then like, like I guess her feelings about it. Because I still like, I mean, grief is obviously like universal. Everyone's experienced it one way or
Yeah.
another. Everyone experiences it in unique ways. So I really can't go wrong in my depictions of grief, but I want to make sure that the way I depict what actually happened is correct.
Yeah.
So we'll see if I even like, maybe I just won't, maybe I'll leave it up to like reader's interpretation of like how it really like what event like actually
I
happened.
like that too.
Because
I like that
yeah,
because I don't have any sort of relationship to opioids. So it'd be interesting for me to interpret it in a way that leaves me thinking and
Right.
wondering and questioning, but not with exact answers.
Yeah. I think I would just have like a segment or two about kind of like just like a small, like really small,
Yeah.
like I mean like literally like a page or two of just like descriptions or like
Cool.
explanation. But I think the main part of where Ruth will actually explore her feelings like out loud will be probably once she moves, and I would like for her to get like a therapist and then like have like that scene, like that be a setting in which I can explore her emotions without it being just in her head. Like she can say things out loud and we can follow her thought process as she's thinking things out, and the questions are deliberately asked of like, so you feel this way, like how, why do you feel this way? Why do you think this that you feel this way? What are
Okay.
the roots of this? You know, like it would be obviously more less vague than that, but um
Awesome.
I feel like that would give me the opportunity to write about like her actually like processing her feelings without it being like kind of awkward of like she's just like on the bus or something and she's like
Okay.
death. You know, like I don't, you know, right? Like that's just like I don't know, that's like we don't need to be emo about it. Like we can like
Yeah.
actually process this and write it like, you know, like an adult. I don't
Yeah.
know. Um
Is there like another issue that the opioid addiction masks that the father is having?
Emotional
um
issue. That's a good
yeah,
Yeah.
question.
I think I've kind of thought about it, and I think that the issue, he's really like involved in not only like the ranch and his family's lives, but like their community. And
Yeah.
he, I think that a big part of it is like he always has to feel like he's doing something important. Always has to feel like he's like doing something for people, even if like really like the drive behind that is actually more of a selfish thing of like I want to be seen as this kind of person for people. I think it kind of inspired by like my own family. Like both my parents are people who cannot stop. Like they have to be doing something always. Like a project is always in plan. Like a plan for the future is always in motion. Like my whole life, every time like when my parents were together and we lived, you know, like we moved once, and the first time the house I grew up in was just like super insane because my dad had so many projects he was doing. He built like he added a deck, he added a fire pit downstairs. He built me like a playground in the backyard when I was a kid, and then when I outgrew it, like he ripped tore the whole thing down
Oh
and
my gosh.
like we
That's
had
awesome.
a theater room that he built, and then we moved again. He built another theater room. He
I
brought
love
a
that.
pool. Yes, and it was like on the surface, like oh yeah, like that's super awesome, right? But then you have to think like how many months, how many years does someone live in construction zone where it's like, okay, well, like the project's going to be done, guys. It's going to be done one day, and we're going to thrive from it then. Like once it's done, like yeah, it's going to be awesome. But like the process of doing it, like I literally our second house that we lived in, that we only lived in like 4 years until they like divorced. And that was good for everyone. Don't get me wrong. Okay, guys, that was a long time coming. Should have been sooner, in my opinion. But all that is to say that like I literally like we didn't have a roof for like 4 months. I was making like food in the kitchen. I'd make breakfast and there's just no walls. Like we're it's just construction all the time. And it's like it just having to do like something at all times. And it's just like, yeah, for the betterment of whatever. But like really like I think that the main drive was like he just always had to be doing something.
My
Mom
my
weren't
follow-up
that way
question
with
is
like
the why for that. Like
right,
what in his childhood made him that way, or what maybe it was a genetic or inherited or
right.
situational at work. So like whatever that why is, I think if you develop that with your main
Yeah,
character dad, then the rest trickles into
exactly. Yeah. So I just need to figure out like what that is, you know, which I can obviously like draw off of my like own experiences and like, you know, whatever, but I'm still trying to figure it out. I have like more days off next week than I usually do, so I'm looking
Woohoo.
forward to actually having time to sit down and use my brain instead of just being like I said earlier, like, hi, how are you? Like, what can I get for you? Like, oh my God, have a great day. Like, oh my God, literally
Yeah,
like
I love the service industry though.
This is Devon Alessi. How may I help you?
no, literally like yes, there's absolutely very fulfilling things about the service industry. I think for me, like I just always have to be doing something creative. I always have to be doing something with my
Yeah.
hands or with my
It's
brain.
defeating at our age to be in that
Yes.
environment because
Yes.
everyone you're with in that environment is not investing in their creativity.
Right.
Like,
I'm literally because I'm at work and I'm
Wait,
like,
what do you mean?
well, my experience in the service industry was the people that I was with were there for the rest of their life. That was their mentality. That was where they were going. That
Oh,
they would always be in service. They would that's where maybe their passion was or
Mhm.
their drama was or their friends were. And even if they wouldn't spend the rest of their life there, they would spend the rest of their life in a job that was similar. They never grew or imagined themselves outside of that space. So they weren't developing those creative parts of themselves at that experience and at that time for me like I wanted to. And that's why I quit. And then I literally started making music like the next month because it felt void of that
Yeah.
freedom of
interesting.
expression feeling.
Yeah. And I'm
I
like a very creative person, not to interrupt you, Rich.
I had the complete opposite feeling, like or experience. The place I worked was this creative hub of
Mm.
individuals, and everybody was like gigging and doing stuff. For example, some of my friends are playing headlining Summerfest
Oh,
tomorrow
fun.
in
Awesome.
Milwaukee,
Fun.
and like I'm gonna go see them. And like we grew up like in the same
Wait,
space.
Summerfest in DC?
Summerfest in Milwaukee. There's
Okay, because there
probably
is a
many
Summerfest
Summerfest.
happening right
So
now.
you got
Okay.
really lucky with your place and your group of people,
Yes.
which is awesome.
Which is interesting too, because when it burned, so there was a fire, and then it was out of commission for like 2 years. They renovated it, and when we had the like welcoming party back, the bar has been in business for over 25 years. So in the restaurant industry, it's like what is it like 7 out of 10 fail in like the first four
Yeah.
years. It's
Yeah.
really
It's brutal
difficult.
out there.
Yeah.
But we created such a great culture and community
Yeah.
where like you loved your coworkers, you loved
Yeah.
the
That's
culture.
awesome.
It just kind of like ran itself and we did our thing. And so everybody's working on something, whether it's
Yeah.
uh, music, illustration, writing. It's just like uh this really cool creative hub. And so
That is awesome.
that's my experience with it. And then we're just working in the service industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're using our
Right.
social skills to get tips and make money, like awesome.
Yeah. I think that's the difference now is like, at least in my experience, like there is what you do for like what you do creatively, what you do, to satisfy your creative urges and like, like the things that you do because you're inspired. And then you also are a wage slave who has to go to work and like
Yeah.
say the same things to the same people every single day to make money because what you're doing to make money isn't what you're doing when you're creative and when you're inspired. It's what's going to make you money because right now nothing creative is making money because people are like, AI will do it all for us. Um,
Mhm.
and so it's like, okay, like great. So I go to work and I sell, coffee and I make coffees. And that's kind of creative. That's kind of fun. Like
Yeah,
I'm
coffee
learning
can be a lot
yeah.
of fun.
I'm
That
learning the
culture could be a lot
barista.
of fun. There's a
Yeah,
lot
I'm
of
learning that
creatives.
kind of thing.
I've never been a barista.
Oh,
I bet
it's
It's a
fun.
lot of work.
interesting.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's
Rush
like super
hour,
hard, but like it's like a lot of like how like steaming the milk, like
the
making sure the
rhythm.
temperature is right, like you how
Yeah.
you pour the milk, like the way you do latte art is super
And the
freaking
person
hard.
you're working with can screw up your entire rhythm, or they
Yes.
can completely get on like another level, another plane with you, and you could surpass every coffee
Yes.
person that's ever existed, make the best coffees. It's
Wow.
crazy. Coffee's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, yes, that's fun, but it's like
A lot
when I'm
of
standing
work.
there and it's slow, like
Oh,
I would love to have
can't go
my
on my
iPad
phone.
there to like whip out my iPad and like be doing a drawing, but like I
I
can't
know.
do that. I'm working, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm standing there and I'm just like for like 8 hours, like on my feet, like wanting to get home so that I can sit down and like draw or
Yeah.
write or like do something. But then I get home and I'm exhausted and I work in the morning. So it's like, okay, great.
And
Like,
also where you like live and where you're serving coffee. I'm serving coffee in Boca Raton, guys. Do you know how intense these people are?
I bet,
How rich these people are? How annoyingly snotty these people are?
bro, I can't
Oh
even,
my! Would
I
you
actually can't
like
even
your
You get
imagine.
good
your
tips then?
coffee with a double skinny latte equals sugar Splenda vanilla caramel? Yes, I would love that.
I mean, yeah.
It's horrible,
Wow.
but there's some good people out there for sure. But
I'm in a Smithsonian museum, so you can imagine like the kind of people.
that's actually sick.
Yeah.
But I could see how that would get boring in a museum, like if it's slow.
If it's
I feel
when
like
it's
it'd
slow,
be more
yeah.
regulated there.
Yeah.
like
Like the
what
flow.
you can and can't do as far as
Yeah.
like we had one owner, small business owner, great guy, and he gave us a lot of freedom to operate.
Oh yeah, and we actually have a lot of freedom too. We're like with a it's like we have 7 locations and only one of them is in the Smithsonian. So
That's
like
all.
we're like the only coffee shop that works independently like out of the Smithsonian that's not like the Smithsonian Cafe, whatever, right? So it's like it is nice. I'm just like I just wish I could, be doing something creative for money instead of
Yeah, 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 yeah.
like $10 an hour, but
Good. Madeline, how's your writing? Any
Good.
on your mind?
Yeah. So where you guys have left off, she was like literally was literally like chapter one. It was like
yeah.
chapter one or two. But so she basically is at the wedding and then the bride like kind of calls her in and I wanted the bride to be close to her. I can't remember if you guys read this or not, but if you did or didn't. I wanted the bride, so her brother's wife, to be close with her, to have a friendship with her, but I also wanted her to be like a resemblance of so wait, let me start over. Each character in this novel to me represents a kind of music slash kind of personality. Like that's how I'm thinking of it. And even if only we know it, some people are going to represent Raymond and Lucia and like Devon. I always forget Leon. Wait, no, that's Katya. I messed them up. But um, like I in my head I want them each to represent a different kind of music and I want her to like as I'm developing to become Vanilla, to become this version of this script that you wrote, Rich, of like what it means to be Vanilla. But in order to get there, she's like developing relationships or has relationships with these other type of musics. That's how I'm thinking of it. So as you're reading it, that'll never probably get out into the reader world, like, but that's how I like am envisioning as I'm going. So she's best friends with this um girl who is also marrying her brother and she's kind of like everybody's friend, everybody loves her, she likes the girly stuff, she likes the tomboy stuff, she's like the life of the party, she's giggly, she plays music all the time, she's the opposite of our character who is like in control and smooth and elegant and like at least on the outside, because on the inside we know her thoughts are like blah, but on the outside when I get to that point where I'm explaining what she's because I want to explain like how she looks and what she looks like and how she moves in the world from the male's point of view. Like I want that to be completely separate from how you experience her as a reader. So on the inside, you could tell like from the beginning, she's kind of like rampant all over the place, like is authentic with her sister, but maybe not other people. But on the outside, she's like cool, calm, and collected, and can be okay in a stressful situation, which is so interesting for I think a man to see a woman that way, and she's not internally. So like there's like this contradiction and then like the coming together of it all. But I want her first interaction, which I wrote, which you guys will see, to be with like when her friend's walking down the aisle to her brother, the music's playing, and I want it to be like a vanilla introduction. So like this music is playing, how is it making her feel, like these things. And then also I developed the relationship with the male main character who she has not been introduced yet. Like he won't because my whole letter idea where she's sending letters and then he's receiving it will so he'll probably be introduced like halfway through at maybe like halfway is probably too far like 25-30% through he's gonna come through and there'll be like stuff happening, but I want him to have siblings, so there's gonna be an older brother who she's in love with or she thought she was in love with, and that's why she left kind of thing. Like she didn't want to, she was in love with both of them. So there's an older brother, there's him, and then there's a younger brother, so there's like this chaotic thing going on, not with the younger brother, but the older brother shows up to the wedding and he wasn't really supposed to, but the brother and her brother invited this older brother because they've been friends since childhood. And she's like, oh my God, like
So
he's here. I'm
messy.
in love with him. Like this is really bad. Like I haven't seen him in 5 years. And now all of a sudden he shows up. And so the readers are like, okay, like now I'm confused because we were talking about this guy in the beginning that she like killed, like metaphorically with left the town. And then now there's this guy she's in love with. So there's this finding out of like, her authenticity and then like who she actually ends up with will be the letter guy, but the brother's supposed to be like what she always thought she wanted but not what she needed kind of thing, because Benella to me is very elegant and very doesn't need anyone, can flow through the world like Rich, the way you were describing her, glamorous. So in order for her to become, I think, that amazing, smooth, fluid person, she has to go through these different versions and relationships of herself. One of those being the older brother, which kind of kept her rigid, which turned her into something that wasn't vanilla. So I'm really excited to like develop the family with the boy. I'm saying boy, but I mean like man. develop the relationship with the man that she's going to end up with, the relationships that cause her to find him. I really am struggling because I'm on chapter 4 or 5, and I like want to start writing the letter scenes, but I'm not there yet. So she has to go
Mm.
in my head, she has to go to the wedding, experience the music, see the older brother, have an interaction. The readers are like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Go back to her apartment, write a letter. But I'm
Mm.
almost there. But like, that's my most excited part. So I'm struggling because I'm like, I just want to get there. Ah, but I'm really liking it and loving it. And the way that I'm going to incorporate the music is going to be like scene based, I think, like that, like interactions where she's realizing, or interactions with people that represent different kinds of music, kind of thing. And then I'm not exactly sure how to I'm experimenting with what kind of relationship she has with her parents. It seems right now like she has like overprotective mom, or like you should have stayed home kind of relationship with her mom, and then her dad gave her this business, so I don't know if I should kill him, like he should be dead, or he should be
He could be
aloof, or
retired. He could be
yeah, he could
retired.
be retired. Like I don't want them to be divorced necessarily. Like I feel like with a bigger family it makes more sense in my head because that's where I grew up with, like they're together but something's changed, the dynamics changed, something like that. So that's my thought process so far. And then I'm like struggling to like describe her because I don't want her to be like I always end up like every writer describing your characters just like yourself, like brown hair, green eyes, tan skin, like but I think I want her to have a little bit more elegance. So just for the purpose of that, I might give her like black hair, like really long, thick black hair, and like something just a little bit different. So it gets me in this vanilla mood because she's glamorous. She's gotta show up and look like Sabrina from the movie. Like have this Paris vibe about her. But I also need to do research on like what Paris fashion looks like. What's the typical like French person? What is their beauty standard? That kind of thing too. So
Could
yeah,
also I was just thinking of the way you describe like the describing the character, right? Like you want to make sure it doesn't fall into like the same trends of like doing the same thing over and over again, right?
right.
I think that if you like obviously say like baseline what she looks like, and then you focus on like one or two like traits of hers that are like
Like quirks.
specific.
Yeah.
Like maybe you describe like her hands, like maybe they're like really long and like her fingers are like
Yeah.
thin and like you can kind of see like the veins through them, but like not in like a gross like poppy
No,
out way.
yeah.
Like in like a oh like they're like really
Porcelain
like she's
way, yeah.
decent.
Yeah.
Like you know like describing like some
I would like
part
to do
of
that from the
her.
male's point of view too, I
Right.
think.
Exactly. Like
Give her some
some
like
part of her that
piercing
sticks
eyes,
out.
you know?
Say it
Huh?
again?
Some piercing eyes. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eyes,
Yeah.
they look through me.
Yeah.
She's
Through my
shirtless
soul.
everywhere. Wait, is this a vampire novel?
Like literally like you know that one picture of Miley Cyrus with like her like
Yes,
when
yes.
she's like
Party in the USA.
it's like oh my God, like literally like someone get her some brown eye contacts. Like
Yes,
get her
yes.
some contacts.
No, I like that train of thought. And what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Uh oh, darn, I forgot. I don't
We'll come back
remember,
to
but
it if it's important.
I liked it. Whatever it
So
was.
she's like representative of vanilla.
Yeah, but she will have that encounter with Vanilla. I think
Yeah.
that will be like, and whether that's like, I'm struggling with meeting a character that's Vanilla, but that's just currently. So, like, if it's not an exact character, it would be interactions with the music that would turn her into this Vanilla world that help her find herself. And maybe it's a little bit different than Vanilla, that's fine, but there has to be a consistent something. Maybe it's the letters. Like maybe when she writes from an alias. That's
Ooh, I
Vanilla.
like that.
Yeah. So
Fun.
like something like, but I want Vanilla, like you said, Rich, to be a separate entity because I want it to be encounter that awakens something in her kind of thing. I just got to figure
Yeah.
that exact thing out. But yeah.
I
Very
like that.
good.
I like how like you really thought out like like for me obviously I'm like this scene and they're super like uncoordinated and they're not
It's
back to
good.
back and you're like I'm not even gonna write that part until I've gotten there with
Well, the only reason I'm like that is because now that I've written, once you write if you guys ever write a fantasy novel, it is so intense and is so
yeah,
step by step driven, but it stretches you so
I
far
bet.
because it just, you realize that if you don't do things in the way that they're supposed to be done for you in order or however you work, you're not going to get to that point. Because you fail enough
No.
times. I've started
Yeah.
this novel, like this fantasy novel, 6 times.
Yeah.
But now that I'm at the place where I'm at now, I'm like, now I know how to begin novels, I think, forever. It's really
I
interesting
like
how
that.
your first draft, like, I don't know if you've read Fourth Wing or heard about Rebecca Yarros, but like she
Oh,
says, like,
yeah.
yeah, like your first draft, it takes so long and it takes forever, but it's almost because you're like grieving the writer that you were before it. You
Well,
have to
especially
let go
like
of that.
fantasy, especially like I'm reading the Poppy War trilogy right now.
No way.
Which is
I just bought that this week. What the
I
heck?
bought I don't usually buy books because I'm broke, right? So I like take books from like the Take One Leave One libraries.
Yeah.
I go to the library, like I'll do all that. My friend had the first one, so I borrowed it from her because we are gonna live together in like a month. So I was like,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
give it back. Um, read it, loved it. Like there was definitely like, and it's like based off of like
It's
real.
politically driven, right?
It's politically driven.
Yeah.
It's like I literally went out and bought the second one. Like I'm almost done with the second one
So
because it's just
awesome.
prime. I'm gonna buy the third. Like it's so good, but like I couldn't imagine writing this book. Like
Takes so
I keep trying
much
to
of your
picture. I'm like,
soul.
how are you doing this? Like, how are you writing this? Like, how are you? Like, I would have to write it word after word after word. I could never
Yeah.
jump around because you can't jump around. And
You
some
can't.
there's a lot of fantasy books like it's fantasy and it's like very like historically
Yeah.
accurate of like like Japanese Japanese wars and like massacres that have happened and like stuff like that like Chinese Japanese Asian kind of like
Yeah.
it pulls from like a lot of different like historical like happenings historical moments and then like obviously translates them into a fantasy kind of world. But like I couldn't imagine doing that the way I'm writing this book, where it's just like, okay, well, this part needs to be fleshed out, so let's do that now. And then I think I'll go over here because like I've never written a book like back to front before,
Yeah,
like
this is
front to
your
back. Like this
first
is the first time,
draft.
so I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm just doing like what I'm doing is literally just like I need words, I need word count, and so I need to write what I feel like I can physically write right now
Yeah. No, that's the
instead of
correct
just
way to do it.
instead of
You're
just
doing it
because
right.
like I've sat down multiple times at the start of this where I sat down and was like, okay, I need to write the next chapter but I
Yeah.
don't know. Like I know that what I have in my mind for some like a scene that I feel like I could write right now is not going to be linear. Like linearly, like that's not going to be the next
See,
chapter.
that's what taught me to know where I'm going. Meaning, like, if I sit down and I
Yes.
don't know what to write for the next chapter, that's because I don't have an end destination. So you're writing the end destinations, is what you're doing. I just
Yeah. Like
write motivating myself to get to that end
which
destination.
is like I hope I'll be able to do that like with this book even like once
Yeah,
I've
even
fleshed
if you
out the
don't, though,
characters.
that just might be your process. Like that might be the way
I'm
that you.
scared. I'm like, what if I don't have a process? Like
No, you do.
what if the process is bad? Like
And
what
it
if it
could
doesn't work?
change. It could change with every single book, every single genre. And
Oh,
I
who
wouldn't
knows?
say that fantasy is harder than nonfiction either, because fantasy, a lot of the times, authors aren't dense enough to understand the emotional relevance of
Right.
characters. Like from the get-go, Devon, your characters mean something to your readers. They
Right.
have emotional depth. They're going through some sort of scarring or maybe positive, whatever it is, event.
Yeah.
And a lot of fantasy books start off describing trolls. And like they don't understand
Oh
that
yeah.
fantasy like Star Wars means meaningful, deep, long-term
Yeah.
relationships. And so that's where they suffer. It's a lot
Right.
of world building with no depth.
Yes, but all of that is to say, I think that you have done a really, from what I've read, because I haven't read what you've written most recently, because I haven't
You
been
read
able to.
like,
I
and
read
I
the first
hate
three.
this draft.
I
It's
read
so
like
bad.
the like 3,000 words that you had
Yeah,
originally.
Yeah, put it in the folder.
I will.
Yeah. I but like what I saw was like I liked the way that you like built, kind of
Yeah.
the
And
story.
then just bear with me on the chaos. Like it starts off chaotic thought, but with my writing, like the second you are in it, like
Yeah.
if you start from chapter one and get to chapter five, you understand the characters in the
That's
way
the
that it
thing
makes
about some
sense.
books. Some of my favorite books ever,
Yeah.
I've had to get to page 60 before I'm like, okay,
Oh,
I know
okay.
what's happening right now.
Yeah. And I'll go through and clean it so it's not all chaos. But like there's an element to my writing of that's like you're not going to get it till chapter 4 and you're in a flow, you're in a flow state.
Yeah,
You're like, okay, I got it. So,
Nice.
I
also
respect
I think
that.
that's exciting for Gen Z because they like chaotic
Yeah.
small attention
Because that's
spans.
literally all we've had our whole life is just the constant stimulation of every single
Yeah.
thing all the time,
If you
everywhere.
read my fantasy book, I describe an apple for 3 pages.
That's crazy work. My mom would like rather die than read that. Like she just said that she literally like
Uh,
because she called me the other day and she was like, yeah, like I told her like I was writing, I'm like writing, I'm like, I just hope I'm not like going on for too long. And she's like, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I love Stephen King. I love him so much. He was my favorite writer when I was younger. But then, I read one of his books and he describes like the glass, like the fog on the glass of this window for like 4 pages. And I'm like, get to it. I'm like, girl, like, yeah, like, some people like
Art.
that. I really like a descriptive book. Um,
Yeah, but most readers don't. They
some
like
people can't stick
surface
with it though.
level,
Some
quick,
people can't
fun
they can't
reads.
stick with
Yeah.
it. Yeah. But like, there's something for everyone, but I was like, yeah, girl, like
No.
I'm like, I will try to avoid that. I will really try to avoid that. But describing an apple for 3 pages, like that's exactly the kind of thing like she like that haunts her. Like
Rich, what kind of writer do you think you are? Like, does it differ on what you're talking about, or do you think you're like in depth or go back, make the depth? Like, how do you start?
I feel like feel like I'm not that I feel like I'm very imaginative in so many things.
Like whimsical?
No, like I can things that don't exist. I
Yeah.
can see it, I can kind of manifest it. With writing, I feel like I just write what happened.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So like a lot of the experiences I've had, all I do is just write it. And like the
you write
characters are
like
based on
how,
people I
how the
know.
character feels about it, or you just like Robert went to the store, Robert bought an apple, Robert left. Instead of like Robert went to the store, he was really anxious about buying the right apple. Like he really wanted the right apple, so he bought this apple, but was scared it was the wrong apple, and then he left. Like does that make sense? Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
is it just like
It's like
like
my
from X,
anxiety. Like,
like A to B to C, or is it A and then like there's some like emotional processing in between, and then like B happens? Does that make? I'm not making
no, it
sense.
makes sense. And then my follow-up question for that, maybe to clarify, is oh my gosh, I forgot what I was gonna say again. Guys.
This is going really well.
Wow.
Well, I think it's because Rich, I haven't actually read any of your like writing before. Like I want, I'd like if you
Sure.
have some stuff that you'd like to share,
Yeah, I would
like
like
I'd love
to.
to see
I
like
don't
how
know.
you
Like
what your
I don't want
process
it to
is.
influence.
How you write is not going
Oh,
to
oh,
influence how
Gotcha.
I'm
I
writing my
remembered.
my
I
book.
was
So you
gonna
don't have to
say,
worry about
Oh,
that.
the right
do
stuff.
you write like
I oh
in
no, I write now like I don't love necessarily how I wrote my first book. I feel like it was too on the nose as far as like the big thing was the introductory clause. I like would always do these like introductory clauses, but um for the Gate of Clouds, I wrote very heavily influenced by like a short like Hemingway slash Tao Te Ching writing style, like very
Nice.
short and
Yeah.
very like leave it up to interpretation in a way. I'm very influenced by like philosophical fiction,
Yeah.
and they kind of like just put stuff there and leave the writers or leave the readers kind of
Oh.
interpret it.
It sounds like you build meaning through experiences and interactions that the character has. Like you're not building meaning like, and then this really meant something to this girl or this
Right.
guy. You're like, no, this is
Yeah,
what happened, and the reader's like, oh wow, this is really
Like,
impactful. This
yeah.
is what this means, and then you see it
yeah,
develop.
yeah.
I
I
think
guess
that
I'm
you
more like
might
that.
like, in that case, the book The Emperor Was Divine. It's like a short book that was translated. It's about a family, I think a yeah, Japanese family in America that went to an internment camp. And like it's like literally like it's really short. It's just like the mom, they don't have any names. It's like the mom, the boy, and the girl. And like it starts when like the mom like sees in the paper that people illegal aliens like are being asked to leave and go to the internment camps. And they're like, "Well, I love my country. My country's asking me to do this. I'm gonna do it." So she literally goes home, like unpacks the groceries, like shoots the dog, and then like yeah, because she's like, dog's not gonna like he's old, like he's like like she like literally is like like he's not coming with us, and then like like packs up the kids and they like go to the internment camp, and like it's very much like this happened and this happened, this happened. It's not like this is what she thought about it. Like it's literally just
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
putting it out there and then having the reader like take
And then
that
the
and
reader's
reel
left
back.
like,
Yeah, right? 'Cause she's like, "Oh, like
what's the name of it?
white dog."
Emperor of what?
The em When the Emperor Was Divine. And it's super short. I read it in like one day. I really liked it though. Um, the ending, I thought the ending was good. Like it kind of touched, it was like talked about like present day kind of like how people feel about like immigrants. Um,
Yeah.
and I thought it was like it's very much like what you just described. Like so maybe you
Cool.
might appreciate that.
Okay. Nice. Thanks for the recommendation.